just a quick introduction about Josh. He works with high school students. First of all, he is with First Step College Prep, and he works with high school students across the greater Houston area to make the college admission process more clear, strategic, and empowering. He helps students build strong resumes, craft authentic applications, and make confident decisions about their future. Since 2022, his students have livestock show and rodeo winners. So again, please welcome Josh to the meeting, and please continue to talk about yourself past what I just said
Oh,
and correct if anything was wrong. But
no, thank you
thank
so
you.
much. No, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for that lovely introduction, and thank you all so much for having me. Again, my name is Josh Prater, and I am the founder of First Step College Prep. Give me one second. I'll pull up my screen to share here. Let me know when you can see.
We can see it, Josh.
Awesome. All right, so today I'm here and it's really great to be here. And I've had the opportunity to speak to the PTO before in previous sessions. And I'm super excited to be back because today's focus is going to be geared more towards freshman and sophomore preparation for college. And, why starting early is one of the most important things that you can do. Okay. Um, I have a QR code on the screen. If you want to scan that really quickly, you can save my contact info on your phone, and I'll give you all a second to do that. All right. So, we just went through the blurb about me. So I'll skip all this. I do have nearly a decade in college admissions guidance experience, and I am a member of the Texas Association of College Admissions Counselors. So let's pull that up. This is a list of all the schools that my kiddos got into this year. I'm super proud. I got my first Division I athlete this year. He's running track at the University of Houston. Super proud of him. He's a really great kiddo. So I've worked with students from freshmen to seniors of all different backgrounds, all different potential majors. So yes. All right. Let's talk about this process. Admissions officers look at the entire spectrum of your high school career, right? Ninth through 12th grade. So there's this almost like a myth or this understanding that the process normally doesn't really start until junior year. And I'm here to dispel that rumor. Okay. This is my best example, along with the help of Chat GPT. It's sort of like parking yourself 80 meters down the track in a 100-meter dash and just kind of saying like, oh, well, I'll just wait to start running when they get here. And by the time they get there, they're going to pass you by, right? You can run as fast as you can. You're not going to catch them. And that's sort of what we're talking about when we start talking about early preparation. So we're going to talk about four things today. The first is the reason why families assume that junior year is kind of the starting line. Pardon me. What colleges are looking for before your junior year, and then the cost of waiting. So, what becomes hard or really difficult to fix, and then the advantages of starting early and how it fosters success. Okay. So, the question, why do so many families assume that, okay, we started junior year and the SAT, the SAT is, second semester of junior year. So, it just sort of feels like it all hits you at one time, right? So, that's the first thing, standardized testing. It often begins this cycle of thinking like, hey, okay, it's time for us to get started and start doing college research. College visits and counselor meetings, like you'll start getting called to your school's college office. You'll start meeting with your counselor a little bit more often. And realistically, when you're a freshman or a sophomore, the application deadlines, they feel so far away. You don't start applying to colleges until the beginning of your senior year. So, I mean, it's totally understandable why those assumptions are there. But again, colleges are looking for the entire story. Okay. So what do they look for? We're talking about, the quiet things and the not so quiet things and the importance of ninth and 10th grade. Okay. So if you ask any college admissions counselor what they look for. One of the most important things is academic rigor. Okay. So your performance in AP courses, college prep courses, IB, dual credit, all of those things. They want to know that you're able to do the difficult work that most universities are going to put in front of you. They want to see that you're building high quality habits. So, your grades and your extracurriculars and things that you're doing are going to sort of shape that idea that they have of you from an early starting point. And then again, involvement, right? So, what are you becoming involved with early? Because if you're involved with something early, it's going to present additional opportunities in leadership later on. When you start things as freshmen and sophomores, it gives you the opportunity to build an identity in this authenticity, easy for me to say, that colleges are actually looking for. Okay. Any questions about that? Because I want to make sure that like I stop and give you chances to ask questions as I go, because this shouldn't take too long. Cool. All right. So here are the less quiet importance, the less quiet things that are important in ninth and 10th grade. Okay. So course pathways. Now, it is really important that if you're interested in going into the medical field, like you want to be bio pre-med or chemistry or neuroscience, there are certain classes that you need to take early so that you are able to take them later, right? So, without that early rigor and academic difficulty, you may not be able to take an AP bio or an AP statistics course or, AP calculus. So these are all things that we want to make sure that we're addressing early. Leadership roles, again, like I mentioned before, um, it's really difficult when you get to junior year and you realize, like, oh man, I'm kind of slacking on some of my extracurriculars. I really need to pick something up. It's great that you do, and it's great that you're involved, but getting involved late is going to limit your opportunities to look for those leadership positions. And now, when I say leadership, not everybody can be the president of everything, right? Maybe you're an officer, a communications officer, a treasurer, a VP, something like that. But it's good to show universities and colleges that you're willing to get involved and also that you're willing to commit to things over multiple years. You're not just stacking items on your resume to make it appear that you are a super impressive candidate because they can see through a lot of that stuff. Okay. The other thing that we don't talk enough about is your relationships that you build with your teachers. Okay. Um, it is vital to forge those relationships with teachers. It's, I cannot express the level of difficulty it is for them at that time when it's the beginning of senior year and students go to their teachers and say like, hey, I need you to write me a letter of recommendation. Well, guess what? Like 47 other kiddos have also asked them to write them a letter of recommendation, right? So building those relationships early helps you because you can start to ask for those during your junior year where you'll get a much higher quality response because they're not so pressed for time. Okay. So, how can parents support their students in ninth grade? Okay, it's all about establishing foundations and helping students figure out who they are. The adjustment to high school can be extremely difficult and extremely stressful. So, I want to make sure that we're supporting kiddos to the best of our ability. Building a strong academic base, we've already talked about it. Taking those courses and exploring those more difficult and advanced coursework, but only when it's appropriate. If your student, may struggle with a subject or two, then, maybe on level coursework is right for them initially. And then maybe we can work up to those more advanced courses later. And we're prioritizing you can do to guide a student with care is prioritizing grades. Obviously, grades are really important. It starts right when you get there. There's no adjustment period, right? You have to be ready to start making good grades from the jump. Choosing 1 to 2 activities that you're going to stick with, not just jam packing your schedule. A lot of that also leads to burnout. Make sure you're tracking your involvement. I actually have an extracurricular activity tracker that I'll share with y'all, that can be dispersed after this meeting. Um, Exploring different electives that might connect to future majors, Business Professionals of America, HOSA, things like that, right? Again, building relationships with teachers. I know I'm hammering that one, but it's very important. And then every summer, try one meaningful summer activity, whether that's volunteering, whether that's going to a camp, whether that's finding your own passion project. All of these things are really important. Okay. Now, as we move forward to 10th grade, um, it's it's continuing to build on that course load and that academic difficulty, and then developing and going for those leadership positions. And then also, this is the time where we need to start looking at college and career exploration. One of the things that I do with the students that I work with is I give them a series of different assessments that correlate and tie not just to a lot. You see a lot of career assessments, but I'm more specifically focused on major assessments, like what major is going to best fit who you are as an individual. I also like to provide opportunities for, change and flexibility because obviously students change their mind on a regular basis, and that is okay. We really want to support structure and organization. By day, I'm a teacher. I teach a subject called AVID, which one of our biggest principles is organization. And students that are organized are successful. I've never met a student who was very organized that was just like that just couldn't get their lives together, right? High school can be difficult at times. Being organized is one of the key things that you will carry on to you with your college into your college career. Um, so we start talking about things like PSAT practice. Okay. PSAT is while it doesn't count and it's not looked at by colleges, the PSAT, and the NMSQT specifically, the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test, is something that will help you potentially with scholarship money. And the better you can do on your PSATs, the more that's going to translate to your SAT. Um, the SAT is coming back. When I say that, I mean, we had COVID. That was a situation where, you couldn't put 200 kiddos in a room and have them test anymore. Now that we've come out of that, a lot of universities are making the SAT a requirement for an application. The University of Texas is doing that now. Alabama, Purdue, a few other big schools are moving to a non-test optional policy. So that's just something that's trending that it looks like is going to be here to stay over the next handful of years. Um, then creating a simple resume of activities and achievements, and then meeting with an advisor, myself or a high school counselor, to map out 11th and 12th grade coursework, what you're going to take, um, and sort of plan out the next 2 years of high school. All right. Let's talk about the cost of waiting. Okay. What becomes harder to fix? I mentioned this before. On the screen, you'll see the things that are in your direct control: your GPA in college prep courses, how difficult your high school curriculum is, your character attributes, and that comes through in a lot of different things, including essays, recommendations, your extracurricular activities. These are all things you have direct control over. And, the earlier you start, the more influence you have in those areas. Having someone to guide you through that is really, really, really important because the college landscape is becoming more competitive. The University of Texas had over 100,000 applications, and they capped more students this year than they ever have before. If you're unfamiliar with that term, basically it means it's like we'd love to admit you, but in order to do so, we have to start you at one of our satellite campuses like UT Dallas or UT Arlington, even SFA. They've become part of that program as well. So, and I'm not saying that to like fearmonger or scare anybody, but across the board, decisions are coming later and later because the application pool is deeper and deeper. So it's something to think about for sure. Okay. So what becomes harder or impossible to fix? If you wait till your junior year to start getting everything together, you're losing time for involvement, which I've talked about before. Um, you also have these compressed testing deadlines. So you're going to take likely your first SAT second semester of junior year. There should be ample time to prep for that assessment beforehand, right? So I have access and contact to a bunch of different folks who do really good SAT prep. I also work with a company called Acely. That's it's an AI version of SAT prep, and I've seen some really good progress from students. Over 150 point improvements in a couple of cases. Um, and again, like it, with the testing deadlines, and that just adds an element of stress that's not necessary because it's already going to be stressful. And then rushed essays. One of the things that we do most in my cohort program, which I'll talk to you about, is we do writing. We write a lot. And there's a few reasons for that. The first is I want you to have a true sense of who you are and what you have to offer a university. So we do a lot of self-reflection. Um, a lot of folks think that when you write your college admissions essay, you need to almost guilt them into accepting you because of the things that you've been through or the difficulties that you faced. That is not the case. What they're really looking for is something that's authentic and will help you sort of stand out in a way of like, what can this student tell me about themselves that isn't already on their application? Okay. Um, and the emotional toll is extremely taxing. Okay. We call it the junior year panic cycle and the senior year scramble. Okay. It's extremely difficult when all of your planning for college, all of the extracurriculars you're trying to get into, the testing, all of that stuff piles up. It can be very difficult and honestly demeaning. Like it can really make students feel poorly about themselves academically. They can struggle with motivation. So we really want to help with that and making sure that we're, as prepared as possible. The beginning of your senior year is going to be crazy. The average college student applies anywhere between 6 and 12 colleges. I worked with some students at my high school that applied for over 30 different universities. So, needless to say, you're going to write a lot. You're going to have to provide lots of different ways to talk about yourself. So, we want to make sure, again, by preparing early, we're doing those things. Um, and then the real consequence, it really causes a lot of chaos, and it limits your time to explore and really find the things that you're most passionate about. Okay. So, why it's important to start now? More time equals more opportunity. Okay. And then the more important thing is like lessening that stress load on families altogether because it can be very difficult. Okay. I want to make sure that, you're able to thrive when you have individual guidance in a community that supports you, including your family, including your teachers, including your counselors. So we want to start that process as early as possible. And it is true that early starters do consistently report higher motivation and lower anxiety. Y'all, motivated students are productive students. And one of the things that we do often is something called a motivation or a mindset matrix. And basically, it's to constantly remind yourself, like, what motivates me, what's going to get me to where I need to go. Okay. Just a couple more slides and then I'll open up for questions. So, here's the for lack of a better phrase, the pitch. Like, how can I help you as a freshman or a sophomore? Okay. So starting early is no longer optional. It's the advantage that will help you get the leg up on all of the other applicants. Okay. You're going to have a stronger academic trajectory because you're course planning appropriately. You're looking at, potential pathways that you want to take so you can take advanced coursework where it's necessary. You avoid being locked out of any AP coursework that you might need to take. Okay. Showing that multi-year extracurricular depth will help you show leadership and your ability to show commitment, which is really, really uh, understated when it comes to this process. You're not going through and just filling in a bunch of random volunteer hours, like you're showing commitment. Forming those relationships with teachers, and I encourage students to do that. Um, will get you stronger recommendations, and then working together, we will definitely write some really killer essays. One of the things that I'm most proud of is I actually worked with I'm a twin dad, so I have 5-year-old twin girls. And when you are a parent of twins, what ends up happening is everyone who's also a twin parent somehow finds you and comes out of the woodwork. So I've worked with, I think it's like 8 sets of twins since I've started doing this. And I had a set of twins write two of the most incredible essays that I've ever read, and they both won $20,000 rodeo scholarships, which I was super proud of. One of them is at the University of Texas on a full ride, and the other one's at SFA on a full ride. So it's pretty amazing. Um, so what I wanted to talk to you about, the opportunity I wanted to talk to you about today, is my cohort program. So basically, what it is a small group counseling course where we will meet weekly for anywhere between 60 and 90 minutes. And we follow a curriculum that walks you through the process. I offer them for freshmen, for sophomores, for juniors. So right now, what I'm looking to do is fill cohorts that will start in the month of May. Originally, I wanted to shoot for April, but due to a lot of scheduling conflicts and family travel, for people that are interested, it looks like May will be actually when we start. So mid-May to mid-February of junior year. And what I have listed here, and I don't know how well you can see it, it is curriculum based. So every week that you come, you will know exactly what we're working on. So week one, we obviously have an orientation. And then we'd start looking at building an activity portfolio and then exploring, which colleges are selective, which colleges would be a good reach school, a match school, things like that. Everything from study and time management skills to early scholarship awareness. Planning your summers, we do a lot of that too. So it is very organized. There's a workbook that you get when you sign up that we work through together. And one of the biggest concerns that I get from families is like, well, what if we go on vacation, or what if we all, you can catch up on absolutely anything in the program if you miss a day or two, or a week or two rather. It's not a big deal. I'm also available, and it says, email and text support in 24 to 48 hours. If I'm awake, I'll answer. I know how important this process is. So it's very important to me to make sure that I'm there to support families and support students in this process. Um, I also offer individualized one-on-one counseling, and I offer 20% discounts for the first 3 months of service. And that it's exclusive access for Carnegie Vanguard families. And that's all I got. I know I just ran through a bunch of stuff in a short period of time, and I apologize for that. But if you are interested in joining a cohort, there is a QR code at the bottom right hand side. If you would scan that QR code, it's going to take you to my website. And I will show you that here really quickly if you don't mind. So it's going to take you to my website. Let me share my screen again. Okay. So, shameless plug, this is my website. Um, when we go to the cohort admissions program, click register now. What that QR code's actually going to send you to is the Carnegie Vanguard office hours, where you can set up a time to meet with me, and we can talk about, potentially joining a cohort or doing some one-on-one counseling. Or, I mean, like in the future, if you ever just need help with an essay or whatever the case may be, I'm available to help you. I just want to say real quick as I'm wrapping up, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be a part of what y'all are doing at Carnegie. I mean, y'all consistently are among the top achievers that I've worked with. I'm doing the summer boot camp for college essay writing over the summer as well with y'all. So again, I'm just super grateful for the opportunity, and I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you so much, Josh. We are very grateful for the very amazing service that you provide. In fact, we are um, so inspired by you that you are teaching an essay writing class for our rising seniors this summer.
I am,
So
yes,
we are also endorsing you because we really do think that you have such a good um, finger on this, and I really appreciated everything you said. I couldn't agree more. I especially feel like what you said about kind of having a cohesive story to tell, and a kind of like consistency is really important. And I do
for
think that
sure.
you really highlighted that, and that can be something, I mean, I think that can be something simple, but just a simple story that goes along versus, like you said, a kind of last minute scrambling just to pad a
100%.
resume.
For sure.
So I really appreciate that. I was trying to monitor the chat to see if anybody had any specific questions, but your speech was so perfect.
Well, I appreciate that. I've occasionally been described
I
as
really
having
thought you touched on everything.
oh yeah, no, I've occasionally been described as having golden retriever energy, so I really try and tone it down.
No, I
Um,
thought that was so concise and well put together, honestly. And actually, I had somebody asking in this chat whether you could share your slides, but the meeting is
of course.
recorded and we will be posting it on our website. But I don't know if you do ever share slides. If you
Yeah,
do,
they're yours. Yeah, I can
oh,
absolutely
thank
do
you.
that. Yeah, for
Thank you
sure.
so much. Because I was going to say, if you don't, the meeting is recorded, but that would be really wonderful. I
Yeah,
just like taking
absolutely.
screenshots myself.
Yeah, cool. No worries. Absolutely. Yeah, I'll send them over to you after the meeting this evening.
Great. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you taking
Hey,
such a big chunk out of your
no,
night to be with
I'm
us.
happy to do it. Happy to do it. Thank you so much, y'all. Y'all have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
We'll chat soon. See ya.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you. Okay, everybody, if by any chance I feel like there was a last minute question that came in. Oh, Jan, I'm sorry. That is a very good question. I don't know if I have any answer for that, but I think Josh left a lot of his information. I'm sure he's very responsive. If you ever want to reach out to him, I do know that he has come and spoken for Carnegie multiple times. And so I'm sure that he has been helpful very much with our students. And like I said, he's even teaching our rising seniors or juniors this summer an essay writing course. So um, if anybody else has any questions, please look at his information and his website and reach out to him. Thank you so much. We did run a little bit over time. I apologize for that. And for anybody who was having trouble getting in, I apologize for that. We had a lot of technical issues, but the whole meeting was recorded and I'll be posting it, or one of us will be posting it on our website, and the whole thing should be visible again for any of you who didn't catch the beginning of it or want to rewatch it again. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. And if you ever need any help, please go on the website and reach out to any of us.